You're watching the FA Business Morning, and this is the Eastern Business Report, which is designed to bring you up to speed of business activities and issues affecting businesses and the economy of southern eastern region of Nigeria. It comes right after Global Business on the FA Business Morning. And on today's edition of the Eastern Business Report, we will be reviewing a couple of statements by former President Olusegun Obasanjo, alleging that cabals are undermining the $20 billion Dangote refinery. It's reported that former President Olusegun Obasanjo has revealed that cabals say Nigeria's oil and gas industry will continue to frustrate the $20 billion Dangote refinery because it is benefiting from refined petrol imports. Obasanjo made this known in the wake of allegations by Aliko Dangote, the president of the Dangote group, that some mafias were making efforts to frustrate the largest refinery in Africa. It was also reported on Monday that the multi-billion-dollar refinery and other domestic refineries have not yet bought crude in Naira, despite President Bola Tinubu's instructions to the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited. This will form the basis of our conversation this morning. My name is Ubong Kings. Welcome. You're welcome back. You're watching the Eastern Business Report right here on the FA Business Morning, and joining me in this conversation this morning is Emmanuel Chime. He's a public affairs analyst, and for one part I like to call him a comrade. And we're talking about the Nigerian petroleum industry, the cabals, and the Dangote enigma. It's good to have you joining us.
Thank you very much, Ubong Kings. Thank you very much.
It's a smile on your face.
And thank you for the attachment of that comrade.
Okay, quick. You had my initial submission. All right.
Yeah.
Now, what are your thoughts on what the former President Olusegun Obasanjo said?
Okay, he rightly cited the issue of corruption. He rightly cited that, and that's exactly one of the major pandemic that has been, bedeviling Nigeria's economy all around. So it's not about Dangote's oil refinery, just built a refinery the other day. But if we take it wider, then I want to start on the note of reflecting on a statement I rightly heard from a noble and right-standing lawyer in Enugu State. This is a leader of thought, in as much as he's not yet been one of our politicians, but I mean, that's a barrister or Chief Sir OAU Onyema, not Republic. He rightly said some time ago in one of his public engagements, he rightly said, and I listened very carefully, said that the Pharaoh of Egypt, in one of his occasions, in his later days, we have been asked, why or how did you manage to become a tyrant? And he rightly said that because nobody stopped me. And I picked that. Why do I bring this to this context now? We have corruption as a major factor that have been dealing with Nigeria's system. And because nobody have chosen to stop that, that's why we keep hearing a lot of issues. That's why our economy has been the way it is today. Now, Mr. Obama, you might want to know that was sometime in the year 2021, Punch rightly reported. That's precisely the month of September 12th. Punch rightly reported and said that Nigerian NPC has been using about 69 billion naira annually to pay their staff, but generating zero revenue. Now, Mr. Obong, if it is in an economy or in a society where there is no corruption, do you think that any person, any sane man, will be paying such amount of money to staff workforce without generating anything from the system? Do you think that will be happening? Now, just to tell you what cabals means, and now just to tell you that because we have this corruption you're talking about, or cabal we're talking about, are not people outside the government. They are those in the government. All right? Because rightly, we reflect on what one of our dearest brother and a leader as well, rightly, that's Peter Obi rightly said some time ago. I remember that was in 2022. He rightly said that if the corruption in the system does not include the leader or any family member of the leader, that corruption is halfway, he said 50 way solved. So why we still see corruption thriving in any society, in any sector of our economy today, is because the leaders inside are part and parcel of that corruption proceed. So that's why we see the cabals, the ones who now call cabals, and maybe In the terms of Dangote, Dangote rightly talked about mafia, yes. So that's why we keep seeing them, you know, thriving and doing very well, bedeviling our economy, and it keeps going. They choose to pay billions to make sure that every part of the sector remains moribund for them to keep doing what they are doing. Mr. Bon, we have about three refineries nationally owned that are in moribund state today. One in Warri, one in Port Harcourt, one in Kaduna State. And the one in Kaduna State have about over 660 staff strengths active, receiving salaries every month. Now we have the one in Port Harcourt, have about 507 staff strengths, receiving salaries every month. The one in Warri have about 437 staff, receiving salaries every month. Now, if you have all this, they are receiving salaries with generating zero revenue to Nigerian coffers. And it is as a result of what these persons we call cabals today, or in the terms of Dangote, he called them mafia. These guys will make sure that monies are being made available for these guys, but to make sure that the system is not working. Now, you will remember what happened. That was July 2019, July 8th of July 2019. That was when Melekia, the sitting GMD of NNPC today, yeah. He rightly granted a public note. He rightly granted a public note addressing and giving a whole lot of empty promises, saying that under the erstwhile President Muhammadu Buhari, he said that before President Muhammadu Buhari leaves office, right, that the entire refineries in Nigeria will come to life.
Yeah.
Now, up to today, do you see anyone producing, including a liter? These are questions we keep asking.
Now, but just before we go into all that...
So to now tell you where the problems we're having are coming from, it's not about Dangote refinery. It's about the entire system.
Entire system. Now, are you saying, from your assessment, are you saying we have a bleak future when it comes to crude oil production in Nigeria?
Now, when you're talking about future, then we'll begin to talk about paying off the debt we have first. You know now the debt that erstwhile President Muhammadu Buhari rightly attracted to Nigeria, especially from China, all tied to our crude oil. Hope you're aware of that. Now, the sitting president rightly told us the other day, he said that about 90% of our oil proceeds are going into repayment of debt. So that was now why he said, he discovered that we only left with 10%. So 10% cannot run the country. That's why IMF and World Bank rightly now told him, before we give you loan, because he applied for loan, he said, before we give you loan, then you have to deflect the naira. You have to float it. And he now saw it as the only thing he can do. They told him that you have to remove subsidy. And meanwhile, subsidy already have been removed by erstwhile President Muhammadu Buhari, but just hanging, waiting for a day to happen. Then this woman now came and forced it out by making the first statement he made, saying subsidy is gone. So in this order now, then he discovered that this is one of the major reasons why we are going for more loans, going to other places to get a loan, because the oil, we cannot get anything from the oil currently. But the president rightly told us that as at now, they have been able to bring down the debt from 90% down to 67%. So we now see, based on what he told us, based on what Tinubu told us, he said that we now have about 33% of oil proceeds that we can now add to our economy. So we want to believe that something is happening positively in that area. I want to start seeing it reflect on the economy. If we can be able to deal with the debts that are being tied to our crude oil, then we'll begin to talk of whether we'll have future in our oil sector or we do not have future. But for now, it's all about using it. I mean, a whole lot of debts being collected from international channels are coming to, take it from our crude oil.
So, and that's it's counterproductive. But let's look at this. The direct import of this non-functionality, so to speak, of refineries in the country, how would you rate it with reference to livelihood and business operations in Nigeria?
You should know that there is nothing we can equate to. There's no level of success we can equate to having it being produced locally. I think what we should even be talking about, since we've discovered that our nationally or our publicly owned institutions have not been paying off in Nigeria, I think it is high time we begin to issue
licenses to other private investors who may so wish to begin to establish these kind of firms. But the other way around, just like Dangote is talking about, that when he goes to buy crude oil from Nigeria, then he discovered that they will add up, he said, the fraction will add up by $4 as against what is normally being sold in the international market. He said they will add up $4 to what they are selling to him. So he said that he cannot work with that. So he's been complaining about a whole lot of things, whereas the regulatory authorities are talking about that his own products does not have quality. So the other way around, I think that we should be talking about issuing licenses to intending or prospective investors who may want to invest in
the issue really is if a lot of investors are already deterred, because based on what Dangote is going through already,
yes,
who will be encouraged to want to go into that?
But there is one thing you should know about Dangote. Dangote is this person that anytime any government is about to come in power, Dangote will always look at it and immediately detects that so and so person have more prospect. Then he goes to align with the person, wagging his tails, perhaps bringing in money to sponsor what the person is doing or thereabout. When once the person is there, then the person is going to be doing his biddings. So Dangote has always been leaking the juice from any administration that comes up in Nigeria. So, but somehow this particular government, I wouldn't say have made him to meet a kind of Waterloo or thereabout, but I think I would say that this particular administration in place now maybe came with a lot of cabals or a lot of mafias that, like he's talking about. Maybe came with a lot of them who believe that whatever he's doing, that they are as well interested in that and they can be doing it from outside as well. So meanwhile, the other way around, what it means is that there is competition. So Dangote is only trying to leave it at his beck and call. It is all alone about him and nobody else. So, but whenever he meets challenges, Dangote will always start crying foul. That's one thing we have discovered about Dangote. Go and check what happened in the life of, in the business life of, Allen Onyema. Then you discover that Allen Onyema, federal government have frustrated life out of his business in the past. But this young man kept on doing, kept on persevering, kept on pushing until he's now the one that crashed the price of fare between Nigeria and UK. You can now imagine that. So, and as a result of what? I mean, an ego soars against the wind. It's only a vulture that waits until the animal dies before he comes to eat, I mean, the leftover. So the other way around, I think Dangote should blaze up and face the competition. He shouldn't be running away from competition. Business is all about competition. If the government is putting up some policies that is against him, then he shouldn't cry foul. He should keep striving. He must make it. His business is not a business of kids. After all, he have investors in the business. He have equity holders in the business. So they should always come together and plan how to forge ahead and make things happen. So he shouldn't keep crying foul. What happened that he's crying so much foul right now is because the government of today seems not to be playing to the galley in his own favor, just like others used to do. That Dangote is the richest man of Africa today. Nigerian money. Let's not talk about detail.
Okay, let's look at something very critically before I let you go. One thing I noticed in the statement of Obasanjo was that he expressed skepticism about the repeated promises to rehabilitate state-owned refineries. And what are your thoughts with reference to this revamping or proposed revamping of state-owned refineries in Nigeria? And what import will it really be if eventually they get revamped? Because I'll use Port Harcourt refinery as a case study. We heard that mechanically it was complete to today. Why are you laughing? To today, we've not seen 1 liter come out of that place. Now, what are your thoughts on this?
Okay, Mr. Bong, you should know, we are not running meritocracy in Nigeria situation today. We're only running, a system of, let me say, nepotistic system, whereby whomsoever you feel like this person will be putting into your bags, then you fix in that person there. Mary Kyari is not being retained because Mary Kyari actually, we are being appointed by SY President Muhammadu Buhari. He is not being retained today because of his performance, no, but because of bidding and because of alliances. That's exactly what happened there. Because if it is about performances, then he would have. I mean, in 2019, July 2019, July 8th, he rightly made a statement that entered the national papers all the medias rightly, the mainstream media rightly carried it. He rightly made a statement and said that under the lifetime of erstwhile President Muhammadu Buhari, he said in his own administration, they are going to complete all these state-owned refineries to come into life, to begin to produce. Now, I wouldn't know if erstwhile President Muhammadu Buhari is yet running the administration, but he rightly made this statement very frantic. He said, before he exits office in 2023. He said it. That was in 2019. Now, today, he's yet to even have one that is producing a liter. Have we performed? The answer is never. So he arrogantly made that statement, and he's still there. And nobody's talking about it. And mind you, that statement is being made, and that statement must have been backed with a lot of funds. Remember that. It's what backed with a lot of funds. Now the question we should be asking is, where are those billions? And these billions are not in naira. They're in dollars. Then where are those billions? Where are they that we are not yet having even one functioning? Why? Where are those money? But why nobody is asking any question is because those who are supposed to be asking the questions are part and parcel of the beneficiaries of this particular corrupt proceed. That's why we're having everywhere being kept down, not working. That's why Senator Adams Oshomere rightly the other day on the floor of the Senate rightly raised the motion and said, can we support that we'll begin to go on oversight and compel the armies to use the money that are being given to them for security and for acquisition of apparatuses and equipment, security equipment. He said, let's do that. And all the senators there on the floor said, no, let's not do it. Let's allow them to be diverting the fund to building whatever they so wish, or to do whatever they so wish out of that. So that's exactly now proxy to what is happening in the oil sector. They don't care. The executive does not care, including the legislature does not care what is happening there, because many of them have their stake there. They are picking their own. Then again, we'll begin to talk about the modus operandi in recruiting those who are working in all those places. How do we recruit them? When you recruit someone who is undermerited, but you know that this person is just an ally, he's just a loyalist, you put that person in there, and the person does not actually know what to do, or the person is going there just as a setuli. Now, why do I say setuli? Is this person is just, they are putting in this person there as an appendage, just to flourish the person's life. So whatever you get there, my friend, I don't settle you. Go and help yourself, help your family. Then the person will just be there doing whatsoever. That's why you will conduct an election in this country, and a few individuals will decide and otherwise. Because these persons have been settled for years. They have been fixed in certain places. And those persons are only there to answer to their paymaster, or to answer to whomsoever that backed them to enter the office. So when you are talking about a hijacked system, these are the kind of a thing you see in hijacked system. So
finally, before I let you go, because we have about 1 minute to wrap this up, exactly what is the difference between paying for crude oil in dollars versus paying for crude oil in naira, with reference to the Dangote and other...
Okay, the other way, you should know that if this crude oil are being taken outside the country, then certainly we're going to exchange it with dollars and bring in dollars. Because you know that majorly the only thing that takes us to international market today from Nigeria as a nation is only crude oil. We don't have another thing. When you come to balance of payments, we don't have another thing that brings us to international market. So if we are saying, okay, Dangote, you must buy in dollar, then it's all about saying we want to attract more dollars into our economy. But the other way around, we should know, we should promote our own local content and promote our own currency. Our own currency shouldn't be inferior every now and then. I remember back then, Mr. Ubong, naira used to be even beyond the dollar in value. So why not we begin to promote that again? Just to tell you, our leaders somehow, they know what they are doing. They are not daft. They know what they are doing. They are not foolish. They know what they are doing. Most of them, they stash their monies in dollars. So they don't want to give that somewhat life to the naira. That's why just a few individuals in this country are the ones that are holding our economy the way it is today, Mr. Obong. And it is no longer in news. Everybody is aware of that. Just a few individuals. What can you say about a country who happens to be one of the net exporters of oil, exporters of crude oil in the international community, and who happens to as well be one of the net highest importers of crude oil products. Now, what does it tell you? I mean, how can you run such permutation if you are being given such permutation in the exam hall? How do you explain that this came about? I mean, you bring the two, align them together, you produce an answer.
I think that's a good place to leave it. I mean,
so for goodness sake, what is holding us here is corruption. But it will be better that we'll have our locally functional refinery, so that one is going to give us jobs, two is going to bring down or crash down the prices of our oil products.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel. Thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. And in case you're just joining, I've been playing host to Emmanuel Chime, who is a public affairs analyst, and I like to call him comrade also. Maybe one of these days I'll call him officially comrade. And we've been looking at the Nigerian petroleum industry, cabals, and the Dangote enigma. You could be part of this conversation on our on our dedicated YouTube channel. Kindly go to the search bar and type www.youtube.com/@AfioBusiness, and while you're there, do well to hit the like button. And of course, subscribe for notifications and all business-related content coming to you from Afia TV. You're still watching the Afia Business Morning live from Enugu State, Nigeria. Coming up next is How Markets. My name is Ubong King. Thank you for your time. Stay tuned.